these homes, but we definitely have a crew on the way to the command center as well.
Okay, good. You know, interestingly, we've gotten confirmation from the FAA. Ken has told us, Ian Gregor called us and said that the FAA does not believe that this explosion is from a downed plane.
Yeah, Dana, I have a little bit more information now, and this is coming in by the minute here, so we want to pass it along right away. I have this is information that came in from another eyewitness, and we're getting these on our email. So if you have information to pass to us, cbs5.com. That's how we're getting a lot of this. This is from John, who says this is natural gas. He says that he claims to have some background in this work. He says natural gas explosion sounds like a jet engine when it goes off. This is natural gas, is what John says. So we'll have to trust that he may know something. We're not sure. We can't confirm. Another thing that I have here is location. We've been talking about what streets are involved. I got an email from Marcia Lee, and Marcia tells us this fire is about a block away from Princeton Boulevard. And she says, I'm evacuating at the moment. This does not affect Upper Crestmore Avenue. So that's good if you have friends or loved ones on Crestmore Avenue. It says this does not affect Upper Crestmore. She thinks it's in the area of Princeton. Princeton Boulevard. She says that's the closest street to it right now. Again, FAA is telling us they're not missing any planes. They do not have any planes down, no reports of any planes down. We're getting kind of conflicting information. We have people telling us they heard a plane, they heard an explosion. One viewer claims to have seen a tail section of a plane. We can't confirm any of that. What we are getting now is some indication that this may be something else.
All right, I just want to update, because we've now left the news hour. It's 7:10. Nearly 55 minutes ago, if you're just joining us, we had our chopper up and saw this fireball in the sky, and it took about 10 minutes to start getting calls in. The initial report was that this was a gas station. The secondary report was that this was a plane that had gone down in the area of Princeton Boulevard and Glenview Drive in the San Bruno area. We have not been able to confirm anything other than the fact that the FAA has said this is not a plane. The duty manager at SFO has told us that they are not missing any planes. So right now, again, a very fluid situation that's been going on for about 55 minutes. And the only confirmation we have is from the FAA that this is not a plane.
Now, many of you have called in or sent us your eyewitness accounts saying that you heard a plane, but no one actually saw any aircraft, and as Ken pointed out, a natural gas explosion, especially if that's indeed what this fuel is, as pressurized as it is, it's going to have a roar like you wouldn't believe. And it is still, as Dana, as you pointed out, it's been almost an hour now since this started, since we got the first reports, and that source has not diminished
And I think we need to pay attention to the toll that whatever this is taking on this neighborhood. There are at least a dozen homes, incinerated cars. We saw firefighters going door to door, knocking down doors to make sure that people were not inside. People have been evacuated blocks around this. And in fact, 280 is closed off, northbound at 35. So
yeah, Dana, to that extent, you're right on the money. A lot of roadways are closed right now. We've gotten an alert now. It's the first time, I guess, the San Bruno Police and Fire Department have had a chance to actually contact us. They are only saying at this point, this is a special alert, that they are working a large fire in the area of Skyline Boulevard and San Bruno Avenue. Skyline is closed from Highway 280 and major traffic delays in the area, including Highway 280, and they are cautioning people, please avoid the area. They have a lot of equipment coming in. You can imagine how much they're going to need those roads open, the emergency personnel alone. And you know, we don't know how many people have been injured, or if there have been any injuries. We can't confirm any fatalities, anything like that right now, but that's going to be a process where they want to keep those roadways open. The area of 280 is going to be off and on. They have an off-ramp dedicated now for emergency personnel. Skyline is completely closed in that direction as well. So
hang on,
I just want to caution people.
We have a firefighter on the phone who's not at this site but can speak to these flames for us in some ways. Go ahead, please. Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
Hi, what's your name?
John Kinson.
John,
John.
and you are a firefighter?
Yes, I am.
I hate to ask you to speculate on this since you're not on scene, but can you give us an idea of what is feeding this fire?
Well, if you look at the flames, there's zero smoke coming off of the flames, which is consistent with natural gas. If this was jet fuel or aviation fuel, it'd be black smoke and tons of it. And if you look now that a lot of the smoke is kind of diminished, and earlier when there was smoke coming off of it, it was from the houses that were on fire. And obviously the intensity of the fire itself is not diminished at all, which also consistent with a natural gas fire. And the roaring that people heard when a gas line ignites, it sounds like a jet engine.
And John, when you see the source of this flame and it's pressurized, the force that's happening, this would also lead you to believe that it's natural gas under a very high pressure line?
Yeah, it looks like obviously larger than a residential service. Maybe there's a main line that goes through that area. And the main lines are under extremely high pressure. By the time it gets down to your house, it's very low pressure, under 50 psi. So this is probably a main line serving that neighborhood.
So, John, as far as fighting this kind of a fire, is it just up to is it just up to PG&E to get the line shut off?
Yeah, because if they put the fire out now, that much natural gas going into the atmosphere, if they were able to put the fire out, then
John,
they would have to contend with all the natural gas and where it goes.
Right.
John, can you hang on for 1 second? I'm sorry.
Great
Ken has
information.
some information from PG&E that he can share with us.
Okay.
Thank you very much, John.
Guys, we have a little more information down here from the update desk. PG&E is telling us we have word from J.D. Weedy of PG&E, one of their spokespeople, who is obviously very busy right now. They are telling us they cannot confirm that this is a PG&E line. Now that might sound kind of interesting, wouldn't you know, if this was a gas line, but there are a lot of private companies that move pressurized gas, oil, and other utilities around the Bay Area. Materials, you remember the fire in Walnut Creek a couple of years ago that burned an apartment complex. That was a company that had transferred natural gas across California. PG&E is saying only at this point that they are investigating. They cannot confirm that it's one of their lines. They cannot confirm that it's natural gas.
Do they have someone down on the scene, though?
They have people investigating right now. That's all they'll say.
Well, it looks like CAL FIRE has done a water drop.
Actually, I think it was fire retardant.
Was it retardant?
It looked reddish to me. That could be a glow from the fire itself. But CAL FIRE is now moving in, trying to extinguish the flames on these homes.
All right, I think we have another eyewitness on the phone. Can you give us your name?
Hello, it's Andrew from Pacifica.
Hi, Andrew. And what can you describe? What have you seen this evening?
I was coming off Skyline and stopped at the red light and at the top of San Bruno Avenue and Skyline. And I looked straight across, and it's like an empty parking lot, and there's sort of a bush area just behind the houses. And suddenly the ground started to rise. It was almost like a truck with a semi-trailer on the back was driving under the ground, and the dirt and brush was just flying up in the air. And it almost like either like a bomb or something had gone underneath it. And then the next minute there was a huge explosion, and I felt the heat from the fire through my car window, and then it was followed by a lot of black, really almost like rubber-smelling smoke.
So do you believe you saw what was the beginning of this fire?
Yeah, because it was just tranquility. Literally, I just sitting at the light, waiting for the light to turn green, and as I said, the earth sort of rising and dirt being thrown in the air, and I guess there's a road that runs along there. All the asphalt was being thrown up in the air, and next minute this huge explosion just came from nowhere. It was pretty intense.
So you didn't see a plane?
I didn't see a plane, no, and that's coming in the direction that the earth was moving. There was no real, I didn't see or hear anything at that point, but my mother-in-law lives just over the back, and she said she had heard some kind of noise that sounded like an airplane in the area, but I didn't see or sort of see anything dropping from the sky because it was quite a clear view of the whole area.
So that area, Andrew, where we see this fuel source, is that between houses? The houses surround it, but...
Yeah, the houses back onto it, and the gas station at the top of San Bruno Avenue, which is opposite Lenardi's, that sort of faces out on sort of empty land, and then there's a road that services the back area there. Mm-hmm. And so I think on one side is housing, the other side is brush, and there's a little bit of a gully which also runs parallel to Skyline.
So I don't want to put words into your mouth. In your description here, did it look like the ground exploded?
Exactly. As I said, it was, you know, in those movies where they have the special effects and there's something coming up from under the ground, and the dirt and everything just flies as if it's sort of standing up from under the ground. Mm-hmm. That's what it looked like. As I said, it was like a truck was driving under the ground and just pushing the dirt up. And then next minute it was followed by this intense just explosion, then just the black smoke. And I can remember the smell of the black smoke was very rubbery. So. Whether that's the actual road, the oil from the road burning, I'm not sure.
Well, Andrew, you've been most helpful in your descriptions.
Have. You know, because we are trying to piece this all together, and the information we're getting from the duty manager at SFO that they are not missing any planes. The FAA has contacted us and sent out a release saying that they do not believe that this explosion is a result of a downed plane. And we had John, the firefighter, on the phone saying that this kind of flame is consistent with a natural gas explosion, that if it were jet fuel, that we would have seen very black, acrid smoke coming from this site, and we have not seen that at all. It's been
consistent with what he said about not being able to fight this. You can't just put out the flame because the source is still there. The gas is under, if it is the source, gas is under high pressure, and the gas would still be coming out. But I believe we have Julie Watts back on the line with us, and actually live with us. And Julie, what have you been able to ascertain now that you've kind of gotten your breath?
Well, I can tell you everything I know at this point is hearsay, much like what you guys have been talking about. But let me step aside and let me show you the flames behind me. You can see these flames are very consistent. It does look to me like a natural gas or a gas explosion of some sort. We've been talking to people who've been pulling over out here on the road, many of whom have been listening to police scanners. Of course, they're all saying they heard it was a plane crash. Some people familiar with the area have been telling me that that is, in fact, a gas station that is on fire. Again, this is all unconfirmed information, but I can tell you, simply by looking at this, these flames are continuing. I can't even venture to guess how high they are. They are well above the trees out here, well above the tops of the mountains out here as well. In terms of smoke, the smoke is stretching for miles all the way from where we are on the west side of 280 through really to the bay and beyond, stretching over towards the East Bay. I wouldn't be surprised if they started seeing smoke over on that side of the bay as well.
All right. Well, just to what we're able to see from the chopper view is that this is a residential neighborhood, and there have been dozens of homes that are they've been incinerated. They're gone. Cars are gone. There are at least a dozen homes gone. And
well, we are starting to see the firefight happen now. From the ground, we were able to see them getting water on some of the homes that are nearby, and then we've also seen water and what appear to be CDF CAL FIRE chemical drops as well to try to keep this thing somewhat contained tonight.
Let's go back to Ken. He's been feeding us really good information this evening. What do you have now? Yeah,
it's a little frustrating because you can imagine the emergency personnel are so busy just reacting to the situation. They don't always have time to talk to your friendly news station and pass on information, so we rely on the public, and so you have to take their comments for what they are. Public people contacting us, unconfirmed reports. Okay, right. Having said that, I have an email here from Lou, who lives in Burlingame. I am a gas station attendant. My friend works at the gas station that just blew up. It is the gas station near Lunardi's at San Bruno Avenue and Skyline. We've heard that before, that it's a gas station. That has not been confirmed by anyone, including any of the authorities on scene right now. We have contacted PG&E on the prospect that this may be a natural gas explosion and fire. PG&E tells us this is not one of their lines. This is not a natural gas explosion. They have no information on that. They are investigating the possibility. That's the latest from them.
All right.
Let's go across the bay to the duty managers at both Oakland International and SFO, who